and welcome out to another episode of the Prototype right here at thisweekingeek.net. It's been a little while since we've done a proper Prototype episode. We've done review roundups, we've done extended reviews, sporadically throughout the summer and spring. But it's been since Summer Game Fest that we've done a proper look at, I guess, the state of gaming. So I'm here joined by Ken as we sort of go through what has happened since Summer Game Fest. We've had TGS just wrap up. We had was it Gamescom in Europe? We've had I think there's been a couple Nintendo Directs, maybe, or was
I think
one
two.
Of them, two one
because
maybe
it was
more important.
It was Kirby. It was the Kirby one, and then and then the big one.
Yeah, and then of course a state of play as well. And we're trying to figure out, how do we do this? They weren't, for the most part, on their own large enough to do a proper show on. And they're like, we'll wait till they're all sort of over, and we'll sort of do a quick summary of them, of our thoughts, plus what we've been playing, and then sort of an overview. And
also before all the madness that will be October.
Yeah, like as the holiday season starts to ramp up, things are cramming together. We also, the last few weeks, had a lot of stuff to review on our own regardless, so it was like finding the time to get together and actually talk about it. Now things have sort of settled down a little bit, especially
for a day or two.
yeah, at least we say for now. So it's going to be sort of impromptu. We've got sort of some notes, some websites up where it's just sort of reminiscing. What did we think of, those games that were revealed, what wasn't revealed, that sort of stuff. We may as well start out with, is there anything in particular you've been playing that has piqued your interest, regardless of if it's something that showed up at any of these events? Has there been any gaming that's occupied your time in the last, couple months over the summer?
I mean, obviously Hades 2 just came out in 1.0. That has sucked most of my gaming time. Riot, I got into the 2XKO beta with Riot. That's the closed beta. The open beta starts a week as of this recording.
That's a fighting game,
literally
right?
Literally the day after the Call of Duty beta ends, 2XKO goes open beta.
But is that a 2D fighting game?
It is a 2D fight. It's a 2D tag fighter.
Okay, because that's the one that I kept getting confused. I couldn't remember if that was an old game from like Arc, or if that was the game that was like announced 15 years ago or something.
Yeah, it was announced. It was announced like 10 years ago.
Okay,
and it was pseudo announced because it got leaked and it was like early dev.
Was this the game that was announced or at least leaked, came out when, was it Riot and all those people were doing the big League expansions? Like
yes.
Like into the else worlds where it's like, where they came out with
this was
like JRPGs and everything.
This was one of the first projects of that expansion.
Because I know that there were like hero games that came out and like RTSs, and then there was, what was it Night War, that was the pretty good JRPG style game, and then there was like a handful, and I couldn't remember if that, I thought that was what it was. But yes. See, in my head, I thought that meant it was already out. So I guess
it's finally coming. And with the drop of the open beta, it will be, obviously there's going to be a wipe as of the next, when the open beta hits, and that will be the second to last wipe, because they're going to do a wipe when it goes 1.0.
So, what's the buzz like? Because I don't keep up on the fighting community.
The only thing that makes this game a little sucky is that there's only 10 fighters right now.
Is it? And it's not free to play, right? Like
it is free to play.
Oh, it is.
That's
that's not too bad. So they're following
the way they're doing the credit system. It seems like if they keep the credit system the way it is, you can unlock a character with about a week and a half or so of doing dailies.
Okay,
and your weekly.
So they're kind of following not quite as much like the Killer Instinct thing. It's more like was it Dead or Alive when they started doing like the core fighters thing where you could get the base game for free?
But also the big thing is if you do the tutorial, you get 2 credits for characters.
Okay, so it's not too bad.
So basically when you drop into 2XKO when it hits 1.0, you can get the 2 characters you want to play, basically. If they aren't already in the free pool.
That's fair. Okay, so
and like you're gonna have obviously Jinx, and Vi are gonna be locked behind a paywall. There's no way those 2 characters are not gonna get locked.
I am so outside. It's like I'm like so okay boomered. Like I have no idea about Riot because
I don't
and MOBAs and all they never interested me.
Yeah, the only thing I know about these characters is through osmosis and or watching Arcane.
Which I avoided it because not because I was like against it, but I was like, I don't play any of these games. Do I care? And then I've heard such great things, so I should probably watch it.
Arcane is an animation masterpiece. End discussion.
I almost feel like I should pair it with Cyberpunk Edge Runners because I didn't watch that either.
Edge Runners is probably the number 2 most coherent Trigger show.
Okay, so it's something where I don't, unlike other Trigger stuff where you have to sit there and watch and take notes. I might be able to just casually watch a little easier.
I would say Little Witch Academia is the number 1 most coherent, and then
because that's a normal show.
Is number because Cyberpunk is number 2. Because Cyberpunk does go into the Trigger, we're just throwing shit at the wall at the end, but it's a little more coherent because you have characters you care about.
That's fair. But yeah, so it sounds like you've been doing that. For me, as far as gaming stuff goes, it's all been the review stuff because we got all the RPGs and stuff around the same time. So recently released, we had a review of Ghost of Yote. Like that was 60 hours. I also did the remake of Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky. That was not nearly as long. Like the original version of the game, everybody's like, oh, it's 80 to 100 hours. And I was like, oh, great. And because of the quality of life stuff they added, and they didn't really cut content from what I can tell, they dropped that somewhere in like 40% of the, it's somewhere between 20 and 40 hours or so to do like a complete run. So not crazy. And if you like fast forward your way through, you could probably get the whole game done in like 20 hours, which you're like, oh, 20 hours is a lot. It's not a lot for these kind of games.
For those kinds of games, you're breezing through.
So and then there's been a few other indie RPGs that I've tried that are, again, like 10, 20 hours, and it starts to add up. So that's sort of been keeping my time, plus the regular gaming. I haven't done like anything that required a lot of multiplayer, which I'm not usually a big multiplayer guy anyway, but I do try to play multiplayer games if we're sent them for review.
Yeah, I mean, we're diving into COD probably this weekend.
Yeah. As of this recording, like it's we've gotten COD beta codes, and it's just we're sort of spreading out who gets what on, and we're all sort of selecting different consoles because the idea is we'll see how they all work if they can work together. That'll be fun. I can say this: I played 3 hours total of Mario Kart World over the course of the summer. 3 hours.
I've unlocked everything I can unlock in World for now until they put out free DLC, because there's no friggin' way Donkey Kong and Parleen only have one fucking costume.
Yeah, and I mean, like I played 1 hour just to screw around. I played an hour each 2 different nights when my brother was in California, and he's like, I brought my Switch. Do you want to play online? Okay. And we just screwed on. I have not done any exploration. Nothing has pulled me in. and then the rubber
Yeah.
banding has made me really pissed off. I'm like,
Ooh.
I'm not a
It's
little
bad.
I'm not a little
It's bad.
kid. Like, it's clear that it's designed to try to make it so that it feels like 5-year-olds can have fun, but 5-year-olds don't like that stuff either. I don't understand what the logic behind it is.
Basically, if you are in first place after the first lap, you are gonna get screwed.
Yeah. So I was like, you know what? It came with my system. It's always there. We'll see what updates they do. You know, I've not. We didn't get a chance to get a review copy of the Sonic Racing game. Maybe we'll get something down the line for holiday gift guide. We'll see. If not, that might end up being on my short list to get myself after Christmas when there's maybe sales or
and
gift cards.
Every single review has been saying we like this better than Mario Kart World.
It'll be very interesting to see at the Game Awards, like if it can win Best Racing Game.
That would be cool.
Because as much as there's a bias towards Nintendo, I'm wondering if it wins, what would that send a message to Nintendo?
I think it would, because Mario Kart World. One, because the Mario Kart World bundle I think is going to end soon.
It's not for the holidays. The holiday bundle is Pokemon.
Yeah. So it'll end probably in a week or two when Pokemon comes out.
I would say probably. They won't be producing anymore. I think
they won't be producing anymore. But
I think they said September they weren't producing anmonore. They just had however many they were going to make. You'll probably see it run out by the third week of October.
The end of the month.
But yeah, so that's basically. I think gaming wise, we haven't really, outside of some review stuff, we haven't been doing too much. COD's coming up. There's a bunch of stuff. We'll talk about that at the end. So as far as throughout the summer, there wasn't nearly as much announced outside of a couple of things at the Nintendo events. So going over my notes here for Gamescom, there were some indie stuff announced, but it was much more showing off things that were already announced, giving some gameplay and hands-on for people that were there. So like they had Resident Evil Requiem there. They had Kirby. Trying to think what else was there. I'm trying to think if there's anything really big announced. Like usually there's a bunch of Eurojank stuff announced, but I didn't see a lot of Eurojank stuff announced this year at all.
Because a lot of the European studios have been closing down.
Yeah, I know that they showed off a little more of Onimusha, it doesn't look great.
But again, that game's not coming out till like next year, maybe? ? I don't even think they dated it for next year.
Yeah. Oh wait! It was the Lego Batman game was announced. That was one of the major things at the opening night live.
Yeah, and it looks like they're basically riffing on Batman in all media.
Yes, across everything. So, and they've taken what they sort of did. Was it the Skywalker saga? Was that the last one that they did where it was at a much higher production value? And they've sort of taken that and they went, Warner's like, hey, if we're only going to make like 2 games a year, we may as well put money into this. And they actually put money in.
Yeah.
So that looks like it's going to be good.
It'll be that and whatever the Hogwarts Legacy guys are doing.
Yeah. As well as Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection had its final lineup confirmed. And it is everything from the start of the franchise up until they made the switch to PS2. They're not including anything there. And there's technical limitations as to why. It's the kind of thing where this stuff has to sell well enough that they can then fund R&D to make a proper emulator for PS2. Because people don't realize, like, the PS2 emulation, even on the PS4, when they put things out, the emulation is sort of okay. But what isn't emulated very well is the online aspects. If any of the games have any, it's okay, but there's a lot more work in it. Like, as bare bones as it might feel to people that actually play it, you don't realize that Sony's actually put a fair amount of work in, and they're basically the only people that have a proper emulator. And even then, it's like only half 50 to 70% accurate emulation. So if this sells, what you would see is, some legit research going into making a proper optimized emulator that can also do netcode. So we'll see how that works. I think this is going to sell a lot better than people expect.
Yeah, I think it is going to sell pretty well. Again, now that the movie isn't until next year, it kind of like feels a little weird.
It gives it time so that if this sells really well, around the time of the movie, they could announce another collection if they wanted to, or an expansion that includes, because there's going to be a few games that they could have included that they didn't. One of which would be the PSP game. I think that was the stripped down version of the PS3 version of. I think it was just
MK.
Mortal Kombat of XL or whatever they called, or Mortal Kombat.
It was just Mortal Kombat. It was 9.
And they said, we couldn't include, PS3 on or PS2 onward because of the complexity. It's like, you could have included the PSP because we already have really, really high quality emulation of that. So there's a couple games where they probably could, make a DLC pack for it. So we'll see.
Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah, and I guess the other thing was it was announced that it's not a game key card, right? It's going to be all on cart. That's why it's costing about $10 more than you'd expect on Switch 2. So I think you're going to find a larger portion of people buying it on Nintendo than you would have ever expected.
100%.
You're going to get people buying it that don't even have an interest in fighting games, but have an interest in just like feeling like they're part of a movement.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like, and there's already backlash because they at the Direct they officially announced that RE Requiem is coming to Switch 2, which that was a huge shocker. Like, really?
The graphics don't look. People are saying, "Oh, it looks." Some people that have played it, it looks fine. It does. Okay, if you have to play it portable, great. But I think the compromises are a little too high.
And they're saying it's running surprisingly well for the hardware. Like, people are saying it's above 30 FPS.
Which is nice, except that right after those announcements happen, they show 7 and 8 running on it, and they look better. Like visually, it's like, when 7 looks better. Like, and you'd be like, oh well, obviously I would expect the performance to be better, but visually it actually looks better, and it's like, oh no.
I mean, and at TGS, the director had said that the main reason why they decided to port 9 was because 7 was so much of an easy port.
Yeah, because you're dealing with that's like a 10-year-old game, right?
Yeah, 7 and 8. More so, he said that 8 was running so well on Switch 2 that they were like, can we do 9?
That probably helps because I mean it was conceived as a previous generation game. So the reason we had some performance issues at launch on current gen was that they just didn't have a lot of time because it was a fairly early game. If I remember correctly, like
it was within the first year.
Yeah, I was going to say, wasn't it spring of 2021?
It was like springish summer of that first year.
And that was after being pushed a month or two than what they expected initially. I think wasn't it like scheduled for March or something, and they got pushed to May?
Yeah, it was scheduled for March, and then they pushed it to May.
Something like that. So, because and even then, the performance issues were only if you had it on the fidelity mode, because they, it's taken how many years now? We're at 5 years in, and they're still having issues with ray tracing. So, it's the hardware.
Ray tracing has always been a flipping problem.
Yeah, I mean, it's finally working. Like with it's with first party Sony titles. It's finally working.
Yes.
Third party stuff is usually fine if you're okay with 30 FPS, but then the problem arises where 30 FPS is fine if you have good frame pacing, and very few third party games have good frame pacing. So if you like, I played Ghost of Yotei. For the most part, I flipped around a bit to try to get a good feel, but I played most of the game on the ray tracing mode, which is 30 FPS, and it didn't drop a single frame or stutter once. And when you're playing a game like that that's very cinematic, it does feel fine at 30 FPS. I wouldn't want to play like a Devil May Cry or something like that, or a fighting game, but a samurai sort of stealth game that's very cinematic and all that. It was fine, and it looked way better with RT. And there are other games like that. Like my brother is now playing through Yote on his PS5 Pro, and he turned on the RT Plus mode. That's the newest thing they have for that. And that is 60 FPS RT, and all they do is they drop the resolution down to 1080p, but maximum settings everything else. So it basically plays how I would play it on PC.
Yeah,
like I'm willing.
A similar situation to how like the 120 FPS modes are on Switch too.
Exactly. You drop the res down to 720p even, or maybe scaling 720 to 1080.
Yeah, scaling 720.
But then you get like either the faster FPS, or you get in this case of like Yote, you get the maximum visual settings just at a lower res, and it still seems rock solid. So, but again, it took 5 years to get to this point where now I feel like first party titles from Sony from now until their next system will probably all have pretty solid RT, at least. Even if it's at 30 FPS, it'll be like triple buffered, no problems.
And when they hit PC, it'll run solid 60.
Yeah, when they hit PC, you can expect mostly optimized, unless they have something where it really drops well. But I think that they've learned from their issues before. I don't think they're aiming for an exact like day and date 1 year after.
No, they're never going to do that. They're going to place them as opportunities across the year.
Because under the old Jim Ryan thing, it was basically 1 year after exclusivity ends, they're putting it on PC, regardless if it was ready. And now it seems more like, the year will go up, and then you won't find out about a PC version for another 3 or 4 months, or whenever it's ready.
When they did, when they did Last of Us Part 1, which was the game's still bloody broken on PC. Yeah. You have to mod it to actually get it to run properly.
And I think 2 works way better.
Oh, 2 runs like a friggin' dream. The fact that I was able to get 75 FPS.
Because wasn't God of War Ragnarok like that too? It was a difficult run, but around the same time, Spider-Man was fine.
No, I didn't have an issue with Ragnarok.
Or was it? Or was it Horizon? Is Horizon on PC?
It was Horizon.
Okay, that's what it was. Because 2 of them came out around the exact same time.
I didn't have an issue. I didn't personally have an issue with Horizon when it came out. But I was also messing around with settings, and because even running it at like 1440p with DLSS, it was gorgeous.
Like I prefer the native resolution when I'm doing it. But what I've done for the most part is I've played around a lot. I'm generally happy if the game has an RT mode. I'll put RT on, and then I'll just set the game at 1080p native, and then put everything else to ultra, and then I go from there. Like if it still is not performant, then I turn off RT and then move the resolution up to 1440p.
Yeah. Again, with the main reason why I'm holding off on picking up Hades 2 until the physical version on Switch is because I can just play it on my PC at 1440p 120. So
yeah, and with my I've got the 12th gen i7, and I've got the 3080 Ti, and on paper the 3080 Ti should be able to play a lot more things at 4K than it actually can. And that's just, it's about optimization and implementation, right? So if it's an indie title, generally, if it's an indie title like Hades or any of those, I could do it at 120 hertz, but I don't have a TV that does that. It's hooked up to the main TV at 60. So because of that, generally most indie titles I can play at 4K 60 max, no problem. Yeah. Some titles, like when I played Lost Records Bloom and Rage, it was anything that has like a lot of lighting and particle effects, like haze and fog, and that it can struggle. So then I have to drop it to 1080p if I want to have like the best lighting on. And that's just normal. My brother went crazy and got the 5090. And I'm like, so how are
That
games
thing
working?
is
He's like 90% of things work fine at like 90 to 120 FPS on almost every game. And I got him to install a Bloom Rage, and he goes, and it's a I would say it's honestly a pretty optimized game, but it uses filtering effects very heavily. And he put it to 4K, and he goes, "Ooh, I'm getting 70." And I'm like, oh, he goes, "That's actually for an indie title pretty low." And like he then went and was trying, like he's playing like Doom, in ultra wide mode at like 4K, like ultra wide, so whatever that is, like 4K plus or basically 5K or whatever that is. And he's like, "Yeah, I'm getting." He goes, I locked it to 144," and I'm like, "You bastard." But yeah, so like he's doing that, and but again, you're going astronomically. He was able to do it because for his work, he would get some compensation for computer upgrade parts because he needs it to do model rendering and things, right? So there's a reason to always be upgrading to something like that. Like my 3080 Ti is what he had, like he had it a couple of years ago, and then he's like, at that point he had upgraded to a 4090 because work allowed it, and he sold me this for $250 when it was easily worth 800 or 900, on the used market. And he's like, he goes, "I need my driveway paved." He goes, but here, I'll give it to you for that. And then because of how he worked it out, he was able to pre-order the 5090 at retail before it got all, like he
before
somehow
everything went to hell.
He swooped in, like within like 10 minutes, got it, and he was able to sell his 4090 for the same price he bought his 5090.
Yep, that sounds about right.
So it sounds, as crazy as it sounds to have that device in general, it literally cost him nothing. He just swapped it one for one essentially and got really lucky. So, but that's why, I always, when I get a new PC game to check, I'm like, I check my settings and I'll be like, all right, once it's out, you let me know how it plays on yours. And the response 9 out of 10 times is, it's fine. I'm like, okay.
I mean, there was the whole Uncle Randy put his foot in his mouth with Borderlands, and it's like, the game doesn't run on 5090s.
Well, I asked myself, I said, what's it going? And he goes, I played 2 hours and it went down to 20 frames per second. And I went, what? and he goes, and that's at 1080p.
Yeah,
and that's with like a Threadripper, and like it's not like
there's absolutely zero reason for it to be that way.
Now he doesn't have one of those gaming CPUs. He's not like a
he's running a Threadripper.
He's running a third gen Threadripper, like the last gen of Threadrippers before they technically stopped making those. So it's still like a 3-year-old CPU, but it's top of the line for that era. And
it's still a stupid CPU.
And he doesn't have. I have 64 gigs of RAM in my computer because I just had the availability to get it on sale.
Yeah.
Not that it's necessary. So he's got 32 gigs of RAM, but it's faster RAM than I have. And again, same thing, like NVMe direct storage. It's basically overkill for what you ever want. The only thing that could be better is if he had like a top of the line AMD like CPU, but he doesn't have that, and he's like, there's zero reason it should be performing at like 20 FPS after 2 hours of playing it. So he's like, nope, not playing it.
Because there's a memory leak.
Exactly.
A very obvious memory leak.
And that's the thing. And I was like, dude, you want to just put in like 128 gigs of RAM and see what happens? And turns out it wouldn't matter because the memory leak isn't part of the unified memory. It's literally the GPU RAM. So you would have to have you'd basically have to have like one of those Chinese modded 5090s where they add extra VRAM to it. And even then, after like 4 or 5 hours, it would do the same thing.
And it was doing it on console too, which makes it even worse.
Yeah, because then, on PC, it's not a unified RAM problem. On console, it is, because they just share the RAM. So, oh boy. But so there wasn't a whole lot at TGS outside of I'd say Batman. Well, Batman was probably the biggest announcement, I think.
Yeah, out of Gamescom for sure.
And Gamescom, sorry. Yeah. And then the next thing was the Nintendo Direct. They had
the Kirby Direct.
Yeah, and that was cool. It was long. It was granular. It was a lesson.
Classic Sakurai.
Which it's appreciated, but there's not worth going into. Like, if you ever want to know about the production of a game or understand how it works, great. It's cool. If
you watch Sakurai's YouTube channel, same editor.
Yeah, more information is
Actually.
better than less information. So I'm always happy that they have that when he does videos. Looks fun. I
And we're
don't know
getting
the staying power of it. I almost feel like it's going to be very, very fun for a month, and then people might not care.
Yeah, I mean, I'm guessing the plan for the second one, which they announced at the second Nintendo thing, is that they're going to do post-launch content.
Post-launch content, and then likely probably a demo drop that day.
Yeah.
But yes, so moving into the proper Nintendo Direct, which I don't know, did anybody have really any big expectations? I don't think we did. We're kind of expecting it to be like a maybe a little bit for the Mario anniversary, and that was it.
Mario anniversary, maybe the movie trailer, which is what we got, and then also Prime, which is what.
And Prime was basically almost overlooked. Like we may as well say that what they showed, the big reveal was that Samus has open world areas where you're riding on a motorcycle between areas. And as cool as that was, they almost like just undercut it. They had no narration. It was the only trailer that had no narration over it.
Yep. And we got a date for that.
Yeah. We got a date, which was, what was it, November? December? I can't remember now.
December.
Yeah.
The first week of December.
Yeah, it misses Black Friday, but I don't think they care.
They don't care. Kirby is their Black Friday game.
Yeah, Kirby, and then I guess for the somewhat casuals or the whatever, you've got the Hyrule Warriors Age of whatever. Imprisonment. So, because that's coming out
the week before.
That's Black Friday week, maybe?
No, that is the week before Black Friday. Kirby comes out the week of Black Friday.
Okay, so the 1-2 punch there. And then also for the Mario anniversary, no major new 3D Mario, but Galaxy 1 and 2 released. They did a very poor job of explaining that it's not emulated games. These are proper ports. Yeah. So if you had the Super Mario 3D All-Stars game, that was just the ROM in a container playing it, sort of like you would expect from like a Nintendo Online service.
With a few enhancements, like it was
controller support.
Controller support, and it was bumping up to 1080.
Yeah, whereas this is like a decompile recompile. Like they've gone fully redone it.
They've done it.
It was pretty obvious to the naked eye watching it, but it's very interesting that they just didn't explain that whatsoever.
They didn't. One, they didn't explain it. Two, they hid the fact that, we're charging $40 a piece if you want to buy them individually, and then $70.
Yeah, together it's a proper full retail price, and separately it ends up being 10 to 20% more than normal retail.
Yeah.
But it's also not a limited release, so you're not going to have to scramble to get the physical version.
That is true.
And I think that's going to be...
Hopefully it goes down in price.
I suspect, more so than Kirby and more so than anything else, you are going to see Black Friday deals where they knock $10 off that game to bundle it in with a console. At certain places. And it won't be like everywhere. It'll be like the first 10 people at Best Buy get a bundle.
Or like a GameStop one-day deal.
One-day deal or something to that extent. It will, because it's going to be mass produced. There's going to be millions of these. I wouldn't also be surprised if because it's the Mario anniversary that we see things like they'll put a sticker on the front of it, Mario 40th anniversary.
Oh yeah, no, they have logos. They have a whole logo for it.
Okay, they do all that stuff. There'll be some sort of bundles, like, if not getting the game $10 off, you'll see things like, hey, we've got the Pokemon bundle for Christmas, or the regular edition. Buy that plus Mario Galaxy for the anniversary and get a $10 or $15 gift card for the store. They'll do stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's going to sell very well. DK Bonanza had an expansion where they had DK Island added, as well as the Rogue Mode.
An hour amount of content, charging $20 for it.
Yeah. we'll see that eventually. Probably next year, we'll probably see some more DLC for it. And they'll bundle it together with the Christmas edition. Because I suspect this is probably going to win Family Game of the Year.
Bonanza's winning Family Game of the Year. It's not even a question.
So next year, what you'll see is a Game of the Year edition of some sort. They don't do Player's Choice anymore, but they'll do a bundle where it comes with the code, and it'll be a new box art and a code, and then that'll be their Christmas game next year. Yeah,
they'll probably do like a little. Again, DK Bonanza is gonna probably get some Game of the Years. It'll get nominated for Game of the Year at Game Awards. That's kind of a.
It depends on if the Game Awards goes back to. Remember, they used to have platforms where they would say like, "What's the PlayStation Game of the Year? It's the Nintendo Game of the Year."
It's easily the Nintendo
because Prime won't be. Well, Prime.
I was going to say Prime will not be out for reviewers probably in time.
Because I think the cutoff date is December 1st.
Is the cutoff December 1st?
I'll check that right now.
I thought the cutoff was like Thanksgiving-ish.
Game Awards cutoff date.
Because Indiana Jones came out that first week, and that was...
It's usually the last week in November.
Yeah, last week in November. So Prime will not make it.
Yeah. So because of that, it'll be what gets it this year. If they do, they would be smart to do platforms, because this year each platform actually had good games. Because if they do it that way, PlayStation, it would be Yote likely. If they do Xbox, it will be either it'll be Doom.
It would be Doom.
Because as much as I think Outer Worlds is going to be great, I don't think it's going to have that mass appeal.
It's also coming out really close to the cutoff date.
So unless it like blows people away completely, but it'll be Doom. Because Game of the Year is probably going to be, it's probably still going to be Clair Obscur.
Yeah. Yep. It's
which was predicted by the people last year.
Yeah, I mean, it's between Claire and Hades, honestly. But
and
Hades
I think
is also in a or even Silk Song, but I think Silk Song's difficulty is kind of hindering that.
Silk Song has mixed opinions in the media.
It is a difficult game. It is a game for platformer sickos.
And Hades has great acclaim, but I think the most buzz overall the entire year.
Yeah, it's Claire.
Was Clair Obscur got the kind of buzz that Baldur's Gate got from like regular people that never ever play RPGs.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes.
And the game is freaking phenomenal.
I still occasionally get songs and parts stuck in my head. That's how you know, like 6 months later, 7 months later.
Yeah.
So where I keep thinking like, is there anything I didn't do? Is there anything I didn't do? And it's like, well, there's a couple things I didn't find. I don't necessarily want to do a full playthrough again, but I don't want to leave that world.
That team, if they are able to get a dev kit, are gonna port that to Switch too.
Yeah, and the physical versions are coming out in time.
Money.
The physical versions are coming out for consoles in time for the holidays and bring people back into the fold for like Game Awards and everything. There were other things announced, obviously at the Nintendo Direct. There was a fair bit. Was it the Dragon Quest VII remake, which is done with like little models similar to the style of what was it? The Mistwalker game. Yeah, that turned out to be kind of disappointing. But they're all done, all fancy. You know, the one looks like the Matt Damon model from Team America, though. Unfortunately,
well, that is a problem of the original too. So
yeah, like he came out of the kiln a little too overcooked from the way it looks. You know, Matt Damon, Dragon Quest,
he's Mr. GigaChat.
Yeah, Fireball. That's kind of unfortunate, but anyway, there are other stuff. I would say like the one last thing was the Fire Emblem.
Yes, which was my big pop off moment. I mean, like, look, Fire Emblem's Fire Emblem. That'll probably be next summer's big game for Nintendo. Like they did with Three Houses.
Like at first, like it's getting a much bigger budget push when at first, before, like, it shows the Coliseum, before it shows some of the characters, there were a lot of people that were going, oh, is this the new like Xeno game, or is this the new game from Monolith? Because it actually had that kind of production value.
Well, and also I believe Monolith helped optimization with the last Fire Emblem, along with Koei Tecmo.
Yeah.
Who's been working with Intelligent Systems on all of the Switch titles.
Doesn't surprise me.
Emblem.
But what made me, like, I looked at this and I was like, oh, Fire Emblem. And I know that it's supposed to be a sequel to Three Houses or something.
It's probably pseudo-connected Three Houses.
Because there's a character at the end or something that's connected.
Because the main dragon character is,
which I never actually, even though I had it for review, I never beat Three Houses because I got stuck in a classic situation where I had a save file that happened right after I made an accidental critical choice that forced the plot forward to the end of the game, and I wasn't leveled up enough.
Yep.
And I literally can't complete it without starting over again. I didn't want to do 20 goddamn hours over again.
This is why you always rotate saves in a Fire Emblem game.
Yeah. So I was like, like, I was literally trying to, like, start leveling up and do some of the character relationship stuff. And I was just like, okay. And then the one character, I clicked yes on something, and it wasn't something, it was something innocuous. And they're like, okay, yes. By the way, we're now moving the plot forward. And I was like, well, that's arbitrary. It didn't have any indication that was going to be what moved the plot forward. And then I got stuck. And I was like, oh no, this is a Lost Odyssey situation over again, where I'm at the end of the Lost Odyssey and I still can't beat it after 20 years or whatever.
It's less obvious which route did you take?
Oh, dude, you're asking me a question from 6 years ago.
Sorry, but like it depends. It depends on which route you take. Because if you, I'm guessing you probably took Edelgard.
I was a girl
that's
character.
Also a really hard one.
I remember the final boss was like it was a dragon thing, and I was stuck there, and I was way underleveled.
Yeah, that's the Edelgard. That's the Edelgard ending.
I was way underleveled. Like, when I say way, I mean like way underleveled. And I was like, what?
Also the Edelgard part of the game is the hardest difficulty-wise.
Okay, then that would explain a fair bit. And then when Engage came out, I was able to do a first impressions, and I know you were streaming a little bit, and I was playing a bit, but a lot of crap came out. We didn't have time to really cover it, and I didn't feel that game was nearly as compelling.
Engage's gameplay loop is atrociously bad.
So hopefully
I literally went back on before the Switch 2 came out. I was going back to it, and I'm going through the gameplay loop, and like, this gameplay loop is annoying. I have to do so much shit running around this open area before I even get to do the cool shit that I want to do. Like, I love the characters, I love everything about the story. It's just the shit in the middle is atrociously bad.
And so it's just yuck.
Yeah.
Beyond that stuff, there were some other things announced, shown that looked interesting. I would say it was pretty solid. I liked that Yoshi game. Yoshi the Mysterious Book.
The Yoshi game looks cute. Yoshi's always an interesting. They always like to play around with the art style of Yoshi games.
So it'll be kind of fun. We'll see. I laughed so hard at Virtual Boy. Because I knew nobody was going to believe it. We're going to have to get the hardware to try it, but like, it requires hardware. And I'm not going to get
so stupid.
Unless the cardboard is $20 and then it's like $200 for
it's 30. It's 30 US.
We'll see come February how well it sells.
It's 30 US and then 100 US for the actual full thing. That it's by far the most brain dead thing I have ever seen Nintendo do in my lifetime. Like, people
We'll
have emulated people again. It's like requiring the hardware. It's like you could just render one eye when you have it docked, but no, you're going to complete the experience in quotes.
Have to be either you have to be an expansion pass person to even order it, which is good. It means that we won't have scalpers. So
we'll still have scalpers, but
well, I mean, not really. Well, I mean, I guess just for the collector, because you can't play unless you're already like you have to be subscribed to play the game.
You have to be subscribed, but also, people have been scalping those GameCube controllers.
Well, they don't even work with PC. Not even if you try to hack it doesn't work. So okay, whatever.
Yeah,
people are dumb.
It's Nintendo.
Well, I guess they technically work with Smash.
Yes. So
it's not like a controller that's only locked to that service. There's automatic mapping for it specifically to work with Smash. So
yeah, that was a major.
That's reason enough, I guess.
That was part of their pseudo Switch 2 update.
Yeah, so I get it. Kirby Air Riders, we saw there was more games that are getting Switch 2 enhanced editions. Mario Tennis Fever looks actually good because it has a single player adventure mode. Who knows how long it's going to be?
Well,
but it exists.
Again, you fooled me with all of the sports games on all the Mario sports games on Switch. So I'm not buying this day one.
No, I get the feeling
I'm waiting for reviews because it's like you've bare-bonesed you bare-bonesed an entire generation of Mario sports games. I'm not going to get fooled again.
I have a feeling that they're coming with more this time because they know that the sales weren't as they still sold, but I don't think that they were where they expected they would be. What else? A lot of more games are getting announced to have mouse support.
Yes. Oddly enough, the one that didn't get mouse support is the Mario Galaxy games. I'm like, why does this not have mouse support on Switch 2? That makes so much sense.
Especially if you're flicking around as the second player. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, really?
Yeah. I'm trying to Monster Hunter Stories 3. Which looks like it's finally getting a budget. It also makes me sad because it means we're probably not getting Breath of Fire. Although I could see them doing a HD 2D Breath of Fire type thing, even if they license it out. Because I mean, even nobody expected Lunar to come back, and Gung Ho put out Lunar, and it did. I believe it sold pretty well.
Surprisingly well, yeah. It did.
I think it was 1 million copies. Apparently. I think overall platforms so far.
Yeah,
which is way more. I was expecting them to only sell a couple 100,000.
Yeah, but they also a part of TGS. The Monster Hunter producer said, "Yeah, we have a Switch 2 exclusive title for Monster Hunter coming up."
You think it's going to be a stripped down version of, or is it going to be?
It's not going to be a port. It's not going to be a port. It's its own original title.
Is it a sequel to that Switch 1 game that was actually pretty good?
Possibly.
What was that one called again?
That was Monster Hunter Rise? No. Yeah, it was Rise.
Yeah. It's probably Rise 2 then.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Fatal Frame 2, Power Wash Simulator 2,
Fatal Frame 2 remake
Danganronpa 2x2.
This is the second time they've remade Fatal Frame 2.
Yeah. So there are a few other indie titles they sort of splashed through.
Yeah.
Not anything big beyond that, but that was pretty much the Nintendo one.
The main indie announcement was Hades 1.0 is coming in 2 weeks.
Yes, very much so.
kind of thing.
And then Sony had their State of Play, which was right before. Technically, it was during the first night of like press for TGS, but it was not really
TGS,
part of TGS.
but not TGS.
Yeah, and the big thing there obviously was Wolverine finally had some
Gameplay.
CGI and then some gameplay, but without the UI shown.
Gameplay in quotes.
Yeah, gameplay like running gameplay in engine with the UI removed.
Yeah.
Looks fine. Looks very gory.
It looks like what you would expect from a Wolverine game.
It's probably going to perform quite well.
They also explained how the system works for how you increase the difficulty. Basically, Wolverine is being built like a character action game. So
yeah.
the more you keep your combo up, the better your healing factor will be.
And there'll be tons of other ways to fix it for kid mode.
Yeah.
Well, not kid mode, but you know what I mean.
There'll be accessibility features like every PlayStation game.
We'll wait and see, because they said that we'll have to wait till spring till we see anything else. So don't expect anything at the Game Awards. That was a purposeful statement. So I think
will definitely. Wolverine is definitely their next year's holiday game.
I have a feeling that means that the Game Awards, what we end up seeing from Sony, is either a title announcement for the partnership with Final Fantasy, or we see whatever that God of War game that isn't the next God. You know, the one that they said was
the
God
of War the God of War that got pushed from this year to next year.
Yeah, the one that's not the full fledged God of War, like the double A God of War.
They said it was Metroidvania.
Yeah,
God of War.
So we'll see that's probably what they're going to show, unless one of the other studios, unless Bend or somebody has something finally to show. But I doubt it, because everything's been pushed.
Yeah, or they announce another token character.
Well, that'll probably be there anyway. But as far as the big, as far as big games at the end, that he always likes to have one or two.
Yeah.
It's either going to be the God of War small title. It's going to be Final Fantasy. I still think the title reveal for Final Fantasy VII is going to be there. You might get Final Fantasy IX. I don't know if that's big enough to be considered like a final game. But what you might see is we might see something about Remedy's Control 2.
Yeah. Control 2
it's about time to reveal at least a title.
I mean, heck, COD 7 kind of confused us. Thinking it was Control. So
see, and everybody also thought. You remember the first 30 seconds of Resident Evil 9?
Yeah, that was another one. Where until is this Control?
When they showed the men walking around in the office and you didn't see their faces, you're like, that looks a lot like Remedy's engine. And it wasn't until you saw a woman, because they don't do women this. It's very unique. It's RE engine when it's that. But when it was just the guy, the Lance Reddick sort of looking guy walking around, I was like, is this Control 2? Like, is it going to be is it going to be the FBI investigating the Bureau? Like is it going to be something like that? And then I was like, oh no, it wasn't quite time yet. And, Alan Wake 2 is now hitting, I think this month it's part of PlayStation Plus's,
yes.
The regular, the lowest tier, it's being added as one of the couple games. You've also got, I don't think there's been an update in a while, but there was a patch for what's it called? Quantum Break, so that it had more compatibility with modern drivers and Windows 11 a little better through Game Pass. They're pretty much, and Firebreak is having a full I know it didn't do well at all, because live service, come on. But they've done a rebrand. I think it's launching this week or next week.
It's this week, because that's part of the driver notes in NVIDIA drivers this week. Yeah,
they're trying as a last-ditch effort. So they're basically, quote unquote, done with all the current projects. And I know they stepped away from. They had that partnership with the Chinese company to do, what was that shooter game that nobody been into playing? They did the single player campaign for it.
Yeah.
The one that was on it was on Xbox Game Pass, and then they as like a first party title or something. And
if I remember correctly, that part of the game got canceled.
Yeah, they got canceled after they kept announcing that they're like, "Whoa, look who's handling it." It's like, well, I know that they're working on Max Payne, but the Max Payne remake, like they announced Control 2 first, and they just haven't shown anything. But all the buzz has been on the Max Payne. I think what we might see, well, no, because the Max Payne remake is a remake of 1 and 2 together. They've openly said that.
Yes.
So
that will probably be. We'll get Control 2 teased
I think
beforehand, and the Max Payne thing will probably come out next year because that shouldn't be too hard.
It's also not. Yeah, those games are not as long as people remember.
Yeah, they're short.
Like
I think they were like 6 hours. There was a whole thing. It's like 6 hours or something silly like that.
I think it's between 3 and 5 hours each game at the most. It was only hard if you played it on hard, and the replayability was just people put 20, 30, 40 hours in because they kept replaying the same levels just doing bullet time.
Yeah, because it was so much fun.
Yeah, that's what I mean. When I built my first gaming PC, that was one of the first games I got. So. And they're not including the third game, which was not good, not made by them. So I think what they're going to add is, if they add anything, it's going to be more of the stuff to have connectivity with the other games.
With the universe, yeah.
So
they're going to connect the universes.
There's going to be a level or two where Max is on his painkillers and on his drugs, and he hallucinates, and he's stuck in the hotel from... the hotel between worlds, and he'll knock on a door, and in the background he'll hear, Ati from Control. He'll hear the janitor talking or humming or singing a song to himself.
Yeah.
Or he'll just see him, he'll go to kill all the mobsters in an apartment building, and then Ati will be there in the janitor's closet. Or there'll be connections to him. There might be some FBI reports or something he sees of some connection to Control, and it's very likely that at some point, there'll be a TV on in his room, and on the news they'll be talking about an event, or it'll say a famous writer has disappeared, or something like that. They'll have some connections, and then maybe some. I mean. Did you play Alan Wake 2?
No, because I'm waiting for it to be deeply discounted, because the only way to play it on PC is through Epic.
Okay.
Because Epic published it.
Okay, because I played it, and I guess if it's coming to PS
Plus... I've seen playthroughs of it, don't get me wrong.
Okay, for anybody listening, it's been out long enough that I can say that it was not what I was expecting. The horror parts were not as scary. There's maybe 2 jump scares that scared me. But the fact that it jumps between the survival horror...
I can think of the 2 jump scares that got you, because it gets everyone.
Well, maybe if it was... It's when you're doing the investigation part in the real world part where you go into the swamp, and then it just... Basically, the horror image of the psychic assault you get when you're walking through the swamp. There's no indication it's going to happen. There's no sound effects or creepy music.
It's one of those jump scares that you're just like, fuck you,
because it's like a semi-transparent monster flies at your face, and you're like, and it
gets everyone.
It comes out of nowhere, and it's not overly loud, but it's very startling. And then it happens again there a second time, but it's not as scary because you are expecting it at that point. And as far as there was one other spot that I got jump scared at, and I can't remember where it was, but that's the one I remembered, and I was like, I didn't look it up, but I'm like, this is going to be something that I think everybody hit.
Oh yeah, everyone got it. Everyone got it. It's just a giant fuck you.
I was like, oh no. And then I turned my headphones down. I was like, no, we're not doing this again. But there's a part where it gets full blown multiverse of madness. and like you start playing as you encounter the character from you encounter Ashmore's character from Quantum Break in the Quantum Break world, but then it breaks down, and when they're trying to kill it becomes like the movie The One, where you're trying to kill every permeation from every universe of that character to gain power.
Yeah.
And eventually you end up controlling Ashmore, like the real world version of him is being stalked in the real world away from the game, and you have to then go into the game world and find your way out and help each other to and help the person from Control to then help Alan Wake, so you could all escape the breaking down of reality, including a point where they go to a world that exists as a text adventure from 1980.
Yep.
So like all that stuff, I was like, whoa, this is not at all what they marketed. And it became much more like something I really liked than what they marketed. The horror game, but the horror aspect is like 30% of the game. So anyway, worth playing. I don't want to spoil too much more beyond that. That's just an aspect of it because of how it all ties together. But like after I played it, I finally understood. I'm like, I see why it was so many people's game of the year. I finally get it, because on the surface level, it just looked like another Resident Evil type game. Like, oh great, Alan Wake, that was pretty interesting at first to me, but was a little too scary. Became fully survival horror. It's not. Survival horror is like 30 to 40% of the game at the most.
It is a pure Remedy. Remedy has created their own genre.
And if you play it on easier, and that there's never a moment where you feel it's not. There's like the survival horror aspect where you're stalked to the point where you're worried that you're going to run out of resources and it's going to be game over and you can't do anything. Is never a situation like that. Only if you're in the Alan Wake part, where there's a part where you're sort of stuck in the hotel world and things are happening around you. There's a few aspects where you do have to avoid the enemies, but again, you never feel like you're going to lose.
I believe at the year it came out, there was a really good dev thing at GDC where they explained how the system works and like the underlying mechanics, and how the game is literally built to give you ammo when you need ammo.
It never felt like I was going to be completely screwed because of a poor choice.
The game is inherently mechanically built so that you never get screwed over.
Yeah. So off that tangent, Neo 3 was shown. Battlefield 6 had the campaign shown. I think people are probably going to be happy with it. I'm not sure.
Everything I've heard of the beta was like, holy shit, this is the Battlefield we've always wanted.
FF Tactics got a gameplay overview. I have played it for review. I don't know if I can say anything yet. I don't remember.
The reviews are already out as of this recording, so yeah.
Okay, so that review will either be out now or very soon anyway from us, because we've got stuff already planned. As far as anything else, I think Code Vein 2 was shown a little more, but I don't know how much hype there is for it.
When I saw that, I'm like, Code Vein 2? And
it was announced earlier in the year, but I don't think anybody remembered.
But like when it showed out, it's just like, yeah, no, that's Code Vein.
A lot of games were announced to have like, same with at the Xbox one, it was like all Japan focused, but like there wasn't much shown at the. We're not really talking about the Xbox showcase because there wasn't.
The only thing that was announced was Horizon. The new Horizon is going to be in Japan. Yeah,
Horizon, in Japan, and then every other game that they have has a Japanese mode, or Call of Duty, or Flight Sim. Hotel Barcelona was shown a little more. It still looks really jank, low budget. It's too much money. It's like $50 US. It's like a $20 game. The only thing that was funny about the trailer was, they had Suda showed up in it, and other than the fact that it was an idea from Suda made by his friend, was that in the trailer for the game, Suda doesn't even promote the game. He promotes his own game. He's like, Romeo is a dead man. wish list now.
Yeah.
He co-opted the
Yeah.
trailer to advertise his larger budget title.
Yeah.
And then they showed off that Mega Man content is coming in 2026 to the Sonic Racing game. Deus Ex
Yeah.
Remastered from Aspire, which is probably a bad thing, but actually looks okay, is coming. So that could be fun.
I mean, basically, the only thing that makes this good is that stuff you can get with mods on PC are now going to be available on console, essentially, is all like the quality of life stuff you get from the mods of Deus Ex on PC is going to come to console.
Exactly. Dynasty Warriors 3 Complete Edition to remaster of the PS2 Classic. That, I think, was the highest selling of the franchise. That's why they're doing it. There were a bunch of MMO stuff that was announced, which we're not bothering with. God of War DualSense controller, okay. Wireless speakers from Sony announced, which is basically for the Japanese audience.
But like the God of War thing, it's like you had that Metroidvania planned ahead of time.
Yeah.
And you pushed it. It's pretty obvious.
Yeah, exactly.
One, because it's an anniversary year.
And the speakers looked okay, but I mean, nothing really to write home about. We'll see when they come out what they're like.
Yeah.
As far as anything else, we're running a little long here. We're not going to predict what's happening, for the rest of the year. We know what games are coming right now. We'll see more in the fall. We'll probably do a recap episode of the holiday season. And that, we usually do a prototype right before or likely right after the Game Awards, where we can see and do a preview of what's coming up in the year. Because that's when we can really go over all of the titles that we thought were coming out this year but got pushed, because there's still maybe 6 or 7 games that should be coming out this year that don't have a date yet, but I think they're probably all pushed.
There's a couple that I know already pushed. Some of the indie stuff that was highly anticipated.
So there's no point yet in really going over that. I think that's going to wrap it up, honestly, for us. It's been sort of just a key laid back thing. Some interesting stuff. I think it's been a weird year. We'll see what happens in the new year. Some cool stuff. If there's anything there that interests you as a listener, let us know. We'll get review codes, I think, and be able to cover some of the stuff. But that's probably going to do it for our summer wrap up here, This Week in Geek and the prototype. So for This Week in Geek, we have been
Ken from This Anime, and oh my gosh, my wallet's going to hurt.
Exactly, and I'm Alex, the producer. We'll be back later on this week with regular programming and probably a prototype in the next little bit, right here on thisweekingeek.net.
At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought.
Thanks for listening to this episode of This Week in Geek. Hungry for more? Check out our website at thisweekingeek.net. You can subscribe to the podcast, browse our Twitter and Instagram, and leave your thoughts on today's topics. If you'd like to give us some feedback, send us an email at feedback@thisweekingeek.net. Tune in next time, and remember,
lower your shields and surrender your listenership.
We would be honored if you would join us.
Thank you for your cooperation. Good night.